Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Te Namaha. We are studying Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master, second part, as the spiritual aspirant or sadhak or struggler. And we have finished reading the introduction. And in the introduction, we have learned that it is very necessary to discuss the sadhana aspect in the life of an incarnation. Though it has not been described in other biographies, because the devotees thought that that will not be impressive straight away. But Master Thakur has told that when a God becomes man, he assumes human body and mind, and his actions are according to man. But there is a fundamental difference, that there is no selfish motive, selfish idea of enjoyment in the incarnation. And so he discovers paths very quickly. He succeeds in those paths very quickly, and then is able to guide people, bringing out new paths according to that age, according to the mental mode of man. According to that, he can discover new paths and teach to the people. Then he said that in the last line, almost of the introduction, he said that it is necessary to discuss what is sadhana. That means in Avatara's life, what it is that we are going to search, what it is we are going to set up as an ideal. Now here, we may object that do we not know sadhana? Saradananda Swamiji says, yes, I know that you know sadhana wrongly mostly. And so, it is absolutely necessary to discuss sadhana, and through that angle we shall study the incarnation. So, the first chapter we start today. The heading is Sadhak and Sadhana. They have retained the original Sanskrit words in English also, because there is no equivalent at all. And in bracket, they have given the approximate translation, the spiritual aspirant and spiritual discipline. Spiritual aspirant, I said, spiritual struggler is a better word, sadhak is the exact word. And spiritual discipline is elementary. Sadhana. Sadhana means struggle. Sadhana, when you say, there has to be a sadhya. Sadhya decides what is sadhak. Sadhya decides what is sadhana. So you must first understand what is the ultimate aim of life and how to determine the aim of life, not as per our mood. I think that I'll be doctor, I'll be engineer. That is not the aim of life. Or many people in religion also think, I'll always think of God. That cannot be the aim of life. Aim of life is that which once we get, we never lose it, which once we get, we feel satisfied forever. We feel our life has been fulfilled. That is the only thing which can be the aim. And this is not what a human mind thinks. It is as per the nature of the reality. So that is what Saradananda Swamiji is going to discuss. So spiritual discipline is a very weak translation, and so the translator has retained the word sadhana. To become truly acquainted with the sadhak state of the master's life, okay, sadhak state of master's life, we must first, sadhak state, okay, we must first of all know what sadhana is. An objection may be raised. Why do you increase the bulk of the book by raising this topic when India, especially in India, when India has all along been engaged in it in some form or other? Which other nation of the world has applied and is still applying its powers, has applied and is still applying its powers to realize directly the truths of the spiritual realm as this country has done since the very dawn of time? So that is the speciality of India, not of no other country has done like that. In which other country have so many incarnations of God and nodes of Brahman been born? So seeing them, at least we understand what is sadhana. Therefore, it is superfluous to recount the fundamental principles of spiritual discipline to us who are already acquainted with them. The erroneous conception of ordinary people about sadhana. So we know, but we know wrongly. And that is why Saradananda Swamiji wants to put the correct ideal in front of us. A great job he is doing for humanity, Saradananda Swamiji. Although what has been said is true, a real need will be served by the recounting for people. A real need will be served by the recounting. For people generally have fantastic ideas about sadhana in many places. Kimbhuta Kimakar is the original Bengali word. Fantastic. Having lost sight of the goal, first is the goal. Having lost sight of the goal, they think they come across sadhana when they meet with the practice of extraordinary physical hardship. So man is torturing oneself. Bhagavan has told in the Gita, Karshayanti Mam Shariyantastam. So that is not sadhana. The bringing together of rare objects, that is another aspect of sadhana. They have to bring some darva grass, they have to bring this mud, that mud, innumerable articles. And that is called sadhana. Strange actions in out of the way places. So they should not remain in the house. Some out of the way place they should go and some strange actions they should do. So everything not normal is called sadhana. Holding the breath. So that is another aspect. Many people think sadhana means holding the breath. There they start and there they end, not knowing the goal at all. Even the fantastic doings of deranged minds. Some minds are deranged and they peculiar things they do. And we think that is not normal, so that is sadhana. So this is the common Indians' idea about sadhana. What to speak of other countries? Again, they regard as sadhana those peculiar practices which were originally prescribed by some great souls for bringing to normality certain minds obsessed with evil impressions and habits. Now, a normal mind can practice sadhana. No, the minds are there which are not normal. So to bring them to normalcy, something is required. And Mahapurushas will definitely prescribe that to them. A great example is that the 24th Guru after Bhagavan Buddha, he went to China to teach them Zen Buddhism, the dhyana aspect of Buddhism. And there he saw that people in general are absolutely unfit for practicing any meditation. So, what we hear about this karate and so many things. He taught them some physical exercises so that to bring their body in some regular order, after which they can practice sadhana. And if they have the patience, he thought that next generation actually teach sadhana. So, extreme case. And so in India, if somebody is having some peculiar habits, the teacher tells him some opposite habits. And then when the mind becomes normal, then real sadhana is taught. We see only those things and think that that is sadhana. Obsessed with evil impressions and habits quite as much as those which are now being preached. So even today, they are preaching this, holding good for all minds and practiced as such. So it is for deranged minds, but we think that is sadhana for everybody. There are still others who, lacking in dispassion and wistfully craving for the enjoyments of fleeting objects of sense, that is a very, very, very big majority. Those who practice something called sadhana, they do sadhana. What is their sadhya? To achieve some miraculous powers. Sorry to say, I was in Rishikesh for almost 10 years, and I have seen the Akhada sadhus and some ashrama sadhus regularly practicing tantric practices to gain power, to remain as Mahant, to remain as Mandleshwar. And that is called sadhana. And they teach even that. That is because lacking in dispassion and wistfully craving for the enjoyment of the fleeting objects of senses, such as beautiful forms and delicious dishes. Ruparasagandha, Shabdasparcha Ruparasagandha, spend their lives in vain efforts under a delusion that the Lord, the cause of the universe, could be constrained by means of certain mantras and practices as snakes are. So, snakes are charmed by certain mantras. Similarly, God will be charmed when we chant something, He will come to us and we will get our powers. I remember in Nagpur, our auditor, he said, "What are you doing? You are not getting anything." His meaning of getting anything is some powers. Then what are you doing? The change of consciousness that nobody is thinking. To experience actually God, to experience actually our own real nature, which only can give fulfillment to life that nobody is thinking. Therefore, it will not be out of place here to make a brief survey of the truths about sadhana discovered by the effort and perseverance of the sages and seers of India through millennia. Right from the beginning of creation, the sages of India, sages and seers of India have struggled, persevered to find out the absolute truth, and that practices we have to understand as sadhana. The ultimate result of sadhana is the realization of Brahman in all beings straight away. Straight away, it tells the aim first. This is the only thing which can give fulfillment to life. And how he knows, he aspired for that. And Sri Ramakrishna said that is the last word. So he knows directly, Sardan Swamiji. The master used to say, seeing Brahman or God in all beings is the last word of sadhana. Brahman, all pervading reality, which is all pervading and beyond everything. That is called Brahman. Or in our words, you can call it God, personal or impersonal, and seeing God in all being, Sarvatma Bhav in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Again and again, Sarvatma Bhav. I become identified with the reality of the whole universe, of all beings. That is the ultimate aim of sadhana. Straight away in the first shot. Thus say the Vedas and the Upanishads, the most authoritative scriptures of the Hindus. Why he has mentioned that? That Puranas may not tell that, Smritis may not tell that, but the original, the authoritative scriptures of the Hindus are Vedanta, and they put this as the aim of life. Gita also. Now he is explaining that whatever you see in the world, gross or subtle, that means these powers or other things, or when the yogis are there, they can see subtler things, they can see their mind. That is not the aim of life. But whatever we see, gross or subtle, sentient or insentient, we feel it is insentient. The stones and stock and animals and birds are sentient. So whatever we see, bricks and beams, mud and stone, plants and trees, men and animals. So one degree is raising. Bricks and beams, mud and stone, plants and trees, men and animals, gods and demigods are, they say, the non-dual Brahman. Brahman himself is all are nothing but Brahman. Non-dual. Non-dual Brahman. That means Brahman has nothing other than Brahman. Then what are all these appearances of Brahman? Evidently. It is the reality of Brahman alone that you see, hear, touch, smell and taste in various forms. In various forms. Forms not only of ocular vision, but swaras, taste, they are all forms. And in all these forms, we are dealing with Brahman only because they are appearances of Brahman. Although all your day-to-day dealings throughout your life are with it, you are not conscious of it. Now, remember here, the Ramanujis, the Hare Ram people, they say that our aim is that we should be able to remember God always. Now, remembrance is a manasik kriya, and you have to continuously do that. That means your consciousness is same as it is today. Only you have to make an habit. And can habits remain permanent? So, all this, the fundamental reality should be realized. Although all your day-to-day dealings throughout your life are with it, you are not conscious of it, and you think you are dealing with different things and persons. This will probably be easily understood by the reader if we describe here by way of questions and answers. These subtler things are always explained as questions and answers. The gist of the doubts that arise in our minds on hearing the above statement and of the refutation thereof by the scriptures. So, because of our gross vision, doubts will arise. But the scriptures know our mind well. So, they have given answers to all our doubts. So, these have to be put in the form of questions and answers. It's a masterpiece. He has culled from all the scriptures and presented a masterpiece analysis. I do not find this anywhere in the world. Question: why is this fact not directly felt by us? What fact? That we are dealing with Brahman always. Why do we not know? And even if you know, Theoretically, why we do not feel like that? Answer. You are in a delusion. So your present experience is not true. A mixture of truth and untruth is your factual life. Start from here. How can you detect it till it is removed? So, when you are deluded, how can we know the truth? When the delusion is removed, then only I can know the truth. It is by comparison with real things and states, real states of mind, real states of consciousness, and real things. By comparison with this only, that we detect external and internal delusions. Internally, we are out of delusion. When we know the reality, then we know this is delusion. Externally, we see things which are not there. And when we know the reality, then we'll know this is delusion. Similarly, you must have that kind of knowledge if you want to detect that delusion. So, knowledge of reality. Truth does not become immediately known on account of delusion and ignorance. As long as one is in delusion, one cannot know its cause. What is the cause of delusion? You have to come out of delusion to see the cause. Here one word is there, immediately known. That is, pratyaksha. Here, immediately is not wrong. Immediately means aparoksha. Immediately is not in the sense of time, but without mediacy. Pratyaksha means direct. So, it has to be perceived, it has to be sensed by something beyond sense. Truth does not become immediately known on account of delusion. So, when the wrong things are seen, how can the reality be seen? Delusion and ignorance. That means our knowledge is wrong knowledge, that is called ignorance. And because of wrong knowledge, we are perceiving wrong things, that is delusion. As long as one is in delusion, one cannot know its cause. Okay. Question. What is the cause of the delusion and when did it arise in us? So we want to know before delusion what was and the time or the state when the delusion comes. Answer. The cause of delusion here is the same as it is everywhere. Delusion cause is same. It is ignorance. Wrong knowledge is the cause of delusion. There cannot be any other cause. If some cause is found out, the delusion will vanish, but that is not true. How can you know when that ignorance arose? Now time. The very perception of time is ignorance. Because the reality is absolutely unchanging. And if there is everything is unchanging, how can you know time? What is time? Only a process. Unless something changes, how we know time? Day. What is day? Earth revolving around itself. What is month? Moon revolving around Earth. What is year? Earth revolving around. So, how do we know time? Time depends upon some change. And the reality, if it has to be reality, it has to be absolutely unchanging. So, the very concept of time arises when the wrong knowledge takes place. And so, how can you know when the wrong knowledge started? It's a state of the mind. How can you know when that ignorance arose? As long as you are in ignorance, your efforts to know it are in vain. Unless you come out of ignorance, you cannot know it. Example, the only example which will tell us about delusion is dream. As long as one dreams a dream, one remains convinced that it is real. Never any doubt comes. When sleep breaks, the dream is compared with the waking state and is known as unreal. You may raise the objection that certain persons have sometimes the conviction that they are dreaming when they are actually in the dream state. So this is called Ubhayata Pragyam. Something like Jagrati enters into dream. So Saradananda Swamiji is discussing every possible state. But there also they get their conviction from the memory of the waking state. So if they are waking a little, then from that they immediately judge that it was a dream. Similarly, some people are seen to have the memory of the reality of the non-dual Brahman when they are conscious of the world in the waking state. We are conscious of the world in the waking state. It is like a dream. But in between that, we may get a glimpse of reality. Then we know that that was dream. So everywhere, the principle is same. And this dream is the best way to us to understand our waking state is a dream. Because in the waking state, we are so much identified with that. And in dream state, we are identified with the dream. But in the waking state, when we get the memory of dream, we can analyze. That is the way it is done. And this is not done anywhere in the world except India. They say dream is dream. But in India, waking state, dream state, deep sleep are comparatively compared when the truth is found out. Question, then what is the way out? If it is like this, that unless we wake up, we cannot know dream, then what is the way out? Answer, the way out is to remove that ignorance. This ignorance can be removed. I can tell you with certainty that ignorance and delusion can be removed because it was removed in his case, so he can tell with certainty. The ancient seers were able to remove them and have left us instructions about the method. So if somebody tells, I have seen this and you have to believe, we will not accept. But I have seen this and the methods which I used, I am telling you, you practice those methods and you will also see, then only we accept as hypothetical truth and we practice it and we know the truth. Question. Very well. But before we proceed to know those means, we want to put one or two more questions. We assert that to be unreal. You assert that to be unreal, which we and so many others see and feel to be real. And you call that alone to be real, which a few sages have seen and experienced. May it not be that their immediate perception was wrong, direct perception. Theirs was wrong, because few have seen and many have seen the other. That is democracy, not spirituality. In democracy also they manipulate votes and they say majority consists of fools. One amongst thousands or lakhs knows the truth. And then his life is fulfilled. Answer. What the seer saw the world to be is alone true. The reason for it. So he will convince us from all sides. There is no such rule that what many believe is alone true. I say that the direct knowledge of the seers is true because they attain freedom from fear in all respect. So see the effect. Freedom is one of the main imperfections in our life and they are free from freedom. They are free. They are not afraid of anything. and our life is always set with fear, and enjoyed eternal peace. We are never at peace. Freed from all kinds of misery. There is no feeling of misery. We have a feeling of misery continuously. With the help of that knowledge, there, moreover, they became aware of a great purpose of underlying all the efforts and endeavors of human life ending in inevitable death. Oh. So they are free. They are no misery. They are peace. Not only that, but they know what our struggle is going on. Then only the picture is complete. They know we struggle because we want to become free, though we do not know it. So they know the root of all our struggles throughout the world. And they also know that our struggles end in death. Inevitable death. Besides, right knowledge always unfolds in the human mind forbearance, contentment, compassion, humility, and other noble qualities, and endows it with a wonderful magnanimity. That is the test, huh? Forbearance. People may insult us and we don't feel it because we know the truth, that truth is inherent in all beings. Contentment, we are not dissatisfied with what we get from the world. Compassion, on the other hand, we feel for every being, we feel his misery. The sages, humility, because we see the reality in all, we are humble, we are never arrogant. And other noble qualities, and endows it means the human mind, with a wonderful magnanimity, so broad in their approach. We know from the scriptures that the seers possess those uncommon qualities and powers, and we still come across them in people who, following in their footsteps, have achieved perfection. So today we see people around us, maybe very few in percentage, but they are never absent. They are always there. His Sri Ramakrishna himself, the galaxy came, and their followers and their followers. And throughout the world, we'll find delusion, although shared by many, is not right knowledge. Another question, huh? Why many see is wrong and why few see is true? See the effects in life. Now the question is, why all see the same thing? This is a different question. Huh? Many see is right, few think is wrong, that has been removed. Now question is, why all people see like same thing? If it is ignorance, then why I see man, same other people see as man? That will be explained now. Question, how is it that all of us have the same delusion? What I identify as a beast is also known by you as a beast and not as a man. And so it is with everything else. It is a matter of no little surprise that at the same time, so many people are in the same delusion about all matters. It is everywhere seen that if a few people have a wrong knowledge of a certain thing, others have the right one in the world, relatively right one. But here that truth does not hold good at all. Therefore, what you say does not seem to be probable. All have the same delusion as the universe is an ideation of the cosmic mind, which, however, is not itself deluded. So, there is a cosmic mind. And the cosmic mind has thought or imagined or created within itself. So, our mind being part of the cosmic mind, we see those as real, which are mental in the cosmic mind. For us, we are in the cosmic mind. You are in the cosmic mind. So, for us, we are external to each other, and that is why we think it is real. But the cosmic mind is never deluded. It knows that all is in my mind. Answer. You find here an exception to the rule. First of all, don't say all. Because you do not count the few seers among the people. You have just now told that the seers see differently, and you are saying all. So, you have not included the seers. Otherwise, the reply is there in the question itself. Why all people see, all people do not see. But in reply to your question, how all people are under the same delusion, the scriptures say, so all these are replied in the scriptures, and we are unaware of the scriptures themselves, unfortunately. Some village practice we take as religion and sadhana. The scriptures say in the limitless infinite cosmic mind, the universe has arisen by way of ideation. Idea in the mind. That is how the universe has arisen. And as the individual minds of yours, of mine, and of all people form parts of and are comprised in the cosmic mind. We are parts of the cosmic mind, and the cosmic mind contains our minds. We all have to experience the same idea. So if the ideas have arisen there, we all have to experience the same idea because we are approaching through the mind. This is why we cannot, by our individual efforts, ideate a beast as anything else. We are not created that beast. The cosmic mind has created that beast. And so we cannot change it. It is for the same reason that although one of us attains right knowledge and becomes free from that delusion, all others continue in it as before. Because in the cosmic mind. And if I get cosmic mind, I know that all this is ideation and I become free. But that does not make others free. One thing more, although the idea of the universe arises in the all-pervading mind of the omnipresent person. So, when we think of a mind, there is a person, God. He does not get entangled like us in the bondage of ignorance. For he, the all-knowing person, his mind. So, whatever is in the mind, he knows. Sees the non-dual reality of Brahman interpenetrating the ideation both in and out of the universe born of ignorance. So, universe is born of from knowledge, and the person who has cosmic mind knows that it is ideation, and he is pervading. Important point here, he is pervading not only inside the world, he is pervading the world from outside also. In the mind, the world exists. He is beyond the mind also. For he, the all-knowing person, sees the non-dual reality of Brahman interpenetrating the ideation both in and out of the universe born of ignorance. It is because we cannot do it that our case is different. If we become identified with the universal mind, we can find it. For, as the master would say, A snake has poison in its mouth. It takes its food daily through it. Still, it remains unaffected by the poison. But anyone whom it bites meets with instant death, instantaneous death. So that is the simile to understand. The ideation of the universe is beyond time and space. Prakriti is beginningless. So space also arises in the ideation. Time also arises in the ideation. So the ideation is beyond them. This is the most important point. Then our questions of when and where vanish. Prakriti is beginningless. So this nature is called Prakriti, that is beginningless, because there is no time when it has begun. That is why it is beginningless. Time arises after Prakriti. So Prakriti is not arising in time. Therefore, from the standpoint of the scriptures means from the vision gained through scriptures, from the scriptural vision, it is seen that the universe, which is an idea in the universal mind, is in a way an ideation of our minds also. Our minds are parts of it. So in a way that is in our mind. We have not created that, but we perceive that. For our limited individual minds have an eternal, inseparable relation with the aggregate universal mind. So, not that there is an individual mind and separate universal mind. Individual minds are all included in the universal mind. And that is the relation. We have no independent existence. It has independent existence. Not only that, but it contains us. So, eternal, inseparable relation with the aggregate universal mind, totality. Like that between the limbs and the body. So, when you talk of mind, we can talk of parts. Now, hand is a part of the body. Hand is not body. Body is not hand. But hand is the part of the body. From body point of view, hand is its part. From hand point of view, it is a part of the body. Again, it cannot be said that there was a time when the aforesaid ideation was not in the existence in the universal mind, and that it came into existence afterwards. Difficult to understand, but if one concentrates, one has faith, and one follows this question and answer method, one can surely understand. Saradananda Swami has produced a masterpiece for us to understand. For the two things, name and form, or space and time. Now, another way to look at it, one way is to look at it, space and time, it is in our mind. Another way to look at it is name and form, that is in our mind. For the two things, name and form, or space or time, without which there could be no diversity. Ideation has diversity. If there are no forms, then how there will be diversity? If there is no space and time, how there will be diversity? Are included in the idea of the universe, or in other words, they have an eternal and inseparable coherence with the said idea. Coherence with within that idea, they are there. Along with that idea, the differences are there. By little calm thinking, the reader will be able to understand it and know why the Vedas and other scriptures, so they included other scriptures also, following the Vedas, teach that Prakriti or Maya, the ultimate material cause of material of creation. So that ideation, that Prakriti or Maya is the material cause of the creation, is beginningless and beyond time, because time is a part of that Maya. Time is a part of that delusion. So it is beyond time. If the universe is an idea of the mind, and if the beginning of that idea is not within what we understand by time, it comes to this, that simultaneously with the idea called time, the idea called the universe exists in the universal mind. So time is a part of that idea. Universal mind is support of that idea. Universal mind is the support of the idea of the universe. Universal mind is the support of the idea of time. As our limited individual minds have been experiencing that idea for an infinitely long time, we don't know when it began, so infinitely long time, they have a firm belief in the real existence of the universe. For us, always we experience that and we think it is real. And having been debarred from the immediate knowledge of the reality of the non-dual Brahman for a long time, we do not know. Not that we have forgotten. We do not know it for a long time. They do not know that the universe is a mere idea and are now unable to detect their error. For we already said that it is by comparison with real things and states only that we can detect external and internal error. So, to know that reality by whatever method is sadhana. The effort to know the universal cause beyond time and space is sadhana. So, reality, delusion, to know the reality directly is sadhana. So, today's our consciousness has to change. Now it is clear that our conception, experience, etc. of the universe have assumed their present forms as a result of our habits accumulated over an infinite, almost infinitely long time. Mirabai said, we have repeated it, भवसागर सब सूख गया है, फिक्र नहीं मुझे तरना न की, मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर उलट वही मुरे नयन की. She says, because my eyes have been reversed, I have nothing to fear from this dry ocean. So our eyes are reversed, Mirabai's eyes has become straight, and she sees these things. So if you want to have the right knowledge of the universe, we shall have to be acquainted with the entity beyond time, beyond name and form, time and space, mind and intellect and all other things comprised in the universe. So mind, intellect, all are in the universe. The effort to have that acquaintance has been described as sadhana by the Vedas and other scriptures. And in India, men and women in whom that effort exists, with or without their knowledge, are called sadhaka. One important point, that majority of the sadhakas do not know this, but their struggle is going toward this. So Saradananda Swamiji has analyzed from the point of truth. And some people, the Jnana Yogis, you may say, struggle with the knowledge of the ultimate goal. But most of them do not know, are not aware of it, have never undergone this process which Saradananda Swamiji has described. But what they are doing will ultimately lead to that. That Saradananda Swamiji will show. So, this is important. In India, men and women in whom that effort exists with or without their knowledge are called sadhakas. Sadhak and sadhana. So, where this effort exists, with or without their knowledge that we are efforting for that, is sadhak. And what it does is sadhana. The two paths of sadhana, not this, and this. So, is ready to explain how these devotees also will reach that. And that is the goal of life. Without that, the sense of fulfillment will not become. The two paths of sadhana, not this, and this. This masterpiece, generally speaking, the aforesaid effort in search of the reality beyond the universe has taken its course along two main channels. Two main channels because overlapping many channels are seen. One is what has been called in the Shastras neti neti, not this, not this. That means what we see is a delusion. That is, secular things is a delusion. So, not this, we reach the reality. And the other is, reality is appearing as this. Whatever is appearing is reality. So, through that also, we go to that beyond the universe. So, he will explain that. And the other iti, this, are the path of devotion. Neti, not this, are the path of knowledge, and the other iti, this, are the path of devotion. Everything is God, so devotion comes. The aspirant following the path of knowledge has from the beginning a conception of the ultimate idea, as Sadhana Swami has described now, and always remembering it goes forward consciously toward that idea. So he knows he is on the path because he is looking to the goal. The traveler on the path of devotion remains very often ignorant of where he will go because he has never analyzed it. Ultimately, he accepts higher and higher ideals one after another as he goes. So his ideal itself will undergo evolution. Today I think I should love God. When the love increases, I know that I am to be a part of God. When that love still increases, I know I will not remain separate than God. So the ideal conceived by a devotee itself undergoes evolution. He accepts higher and higher ideals one after another as he goes forward and at last becomes directly acquainted with the non-dual reality beyond the universe. So ultimately he has to reach there to get the fulfillment of life. And he gets there. This is the only point of difference between the two. For the travelers on both the paths have to renounce the conception about the universe held by the common man. So Vairagya is common. Vairagya has two different connotations. For the Jnani, the world is unreal, and so he has dispassion about it. For the devotee, the world is an obstruction, so he has dispassion. For the travelers on both the paths have to renounce the conception about the universe held by the common man, that it is for subject-object relation or enjoyment. The man on the path of knowledge tries to renounce it in all respects from the beginning. It's unreal, and I'm stuck up in the unreal, so he wants to renounce it. And although the devotee proceeds by partly renouncing and partly retaining it, it is made of God. But these are my obstructions. So I will renounce that which is my obstruction. I will accept that which is conducive. And ultimately we will find that God is beyond everything. And although the devotee proceeds by partly renouncing and partly retaining it, he too, at long last, renounces it wholly and arrives at the truth. One without a second. The truth is one without a second. So whatever we see second, third is that one only in appearance. They are not real otherwise. The renunciation of that common conception of the universe colored by our selfishness, this is the common path, which has made enjoyment the only goal of life, has been called by the scriptures detachment or dispassion, vairagya. As human life is ever changing and ends in sure death, the knowledge of the transitoriness of the world arises easily in it. If we are peaceful in our mind. Therefore, it is probable by reason. Therefore, it is probable that in the past, the search for the ultimate cause of the universe at first took the path of not this, not this. The world is transitory, I don't want that. That cannot be real. Together with the complete renunciation of the common conception of the universe. And that is why the complete development of the path of knowledge is seen to have taken place in the Upanishads before the path of devotion became complete. So devotion element is always there, but that did not become complete. First, the path of Neti became complete, and when that man saw that Brahman is all, then the other path came. In all respects, though both were simultaneously in vogue. So not that people were not devotees, but the full development of that idea of devotion came afterwards because man saw the transitoriness of the world first. So he will describe now the details of sadhana according to both the paths. Wonderful. We proceed tomorrow. Om Sarvadharma Snapakastvam Sarvadharma Swarupaka Acharyanam Acharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.